I want to talk about the Wander Franco flip play. By now, you've heard about this, and a lot of you have probably seen it, but on the off chance that you haven't, I'll describe it and I'll also play it for you in case you're watching this on the YouTube channel. So, the Pirates were playing the Rays last week. Brian Reynolds was at the plate, hits a ground ball to shortstop, routine ground ball to shortstop. Wander Franco throws him out. But he didn't just get the ball and throw it to first. He put a little sauce on the hot dog. You can watch the play here. You can listen to the call from the Rays broadcasters on Bally Sports. They were describing it in replay form.
How about this play? Getting into the NBA playoffs maybe a little bit. Our T-Mobile coverage cam. How about the spin to yourself? I thought I was seeing things.
So what happened was Franco gets the ball. He fields it. And then rather than just get it out of his glove and throw it to first, he flips it up to himself out of the glove and then throws it to first. And all the conversation last week into this week has been really centered around the same thing. Is it good for the game? Is he showing up his opponent? Do you need to do it? Is it necessary? Is it fun? Well, it's an entertainment business. It's all the same usual arguments whenever anybody comes out and does something that's different than we're used to seeing. And I'll just say this, and I think I'm going to have a reasoned, logical take on this. And I don't know that I've heard one of these anywhere over the last week. I am ultimately fine with the Wander Franco play. Okay. I am ultimately fine with it. I don't really have a problem with it. But that play does come with a price. And I hope everybody knows that. There's a ton of people out there defending Wander Franco over the last week, saying how cool the play was, and again, how it's an entertainment thing and it's good for kids, etc. That's all true. But I want everybody to know that those same people who are saying it's cool now will be complaining in a few years when that price gets paid. There is a price to pay for the Wander Franco play and for plays like it, because let me just walk you through this again, what I think is logical. Let me walk it through you logically. The Wander Franco play, the flip up to himself, it's completely unnecessary. That does not mean that I have a problem with it. It is an unnecessary play. There's a far greater chance that you make an error on that play than do anything useful with it. Brian Reynolds was already going to be out. So that play by Wander Franco did not increase the odds of Brian Reynolds getting out. It was a completely unnecessary play that Franco had a chance to botch. That said, we see athletes do unnecessary, flashy things all the time. Every time an NBA player dribbles between their legs, it's not necessarily beneficial. Okay, guys will just dribble between their legs, and every time they do it, they can have the potential to dribble it off their foot or lose the ball. Okay, guys will throw alley-oops when they don't need to. And you have a chance to drop the pass. You have a chance to throw the ball out of bounds. Could have been a simple pass for a layup, but instead we try to make it flashy, and you have a chance at screwing up. Guys who in the NBA who throw behind the back passes, some of the stick dangling in hockey. A lot of stuff we see in sports is flashy and unnecessary. We see this all the time. So this Wander Franco thing to me is not an outrage. We've seen all this stuff before. So I have no problem with it. He accomplished the play, no harm, no foul. An out that was supposed to be an out was an out. It is cool. I'm fine with it. I used to be young and I was somewhat cool at some point, so I get it. The people who are saying the game is about entertainment value, I'm with you. I understand that too. What Wander Franco did was different and it was entertaining. And that is important. Just like when an alley-oop gets thrown or a Rajon Rondo pass gets thrown or Jason Williams, white chocolate back in the day for the Sacramento Kings, entertainment value is good for your sport. It's good for your exposure. It's good for your product. It's also attractive on social media. And if it's attractive to social media, then it's attractive to kids and to young people who you want to like baseball. And that ultimately is good too, right? Every year I've been in sports media, we've talked about how can baseball get younger? How can baseball get more exciting? How can baseball appeal to younger people? This stuff is how. The game needs to get younger. It needs to be more fun. It needs to be conducive to highlight culture. And that's what that play is. Why are basketball and football so much more popular than baseball? Well, they appeal to highlight culture. They have really young fan bases. Basketball is an easy sport to show off on social media. The game can be shown off in 10 and 20 and 30-second bits that grab kids' attention. Football is the same way. When Patrick Mahomes throws an underhand pass, that resonates with kids. When someone dunks, that resonates with kids. When Steph Curry shoots 7 feet beyond the arc, that resonates with kids. Baseball hasn't really had that. Baseball hasn't done a good job at marketing itself. That play by Wander Franco will catch your phone, will be on your phone, and will catch your kids' attention, and that's a big deal. Baseball has lacked being part of highlight culture. Hockey is starting to get in highlight culture. It's good for hockey too. It's good for baseball. So the play certainly can be viewed in a positive light. Good for the game, good for its growth, good for young people. And Will Fleming, who's a guy I really like, who's on the Red Sox broadcast team, he said this the other day as they were talking about it on the Red Sox broadcast before the game against Toronto on Wednesday of last week. This is from WEEI in Boston.
I thought it was awesome. I mean, who has a problem with that?
I don't know.
If a guy is that gifted to be able to do that in a big league game, more power to him. I think we need so much more of that in this sport, and I think it's coming. Guys like Acuna, we all see what all these young stars do all the time in the game, and I think it's wonderful to try to attract a younger and more fun audience. The rules have helped with that. The pace of play has helped with that.
So that's all true. Everything Will Fleming just said is true. That said, understand that there is a price to pay for that growth and for that exposure. There is a price to pay for that, because here's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. We are going to see now 7-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 16-year-olds trying to emulate that play. And they are going to screw it up. And then when more and more people try that play and more kids screw it up, everyone who's loving that play today is going to come out and say, man, what happened to the good old days when guys just made routine plays? And then eventually, we're going to see a whole generation of players who try to put a little extra sauce on the hot dog. And everybody is going to get up in arms and say, man, why won't guys just make the routine play? That is exactly what's going to happen. When you get into highlight culture and you become something, or your sport comes up with things that kids want to emulate, that's going to be an issue for you down the road, right? We see it all the time. We think about it in basketball. You watch a basketball game of kids growing up. What don't you see? The simple, fundamental pass. Right? You don't see the bounce pass. You don't see a routine pass. I play men's league, and guys want to split 3 defenders with their pass rather than pass it to the guy that's wide open. Basketball has glorified the highlight. It has glorified the flash, and as a result, I think the game at the youth level has gotten worse. Running backs in the NFL, they don't want to hit the hole and take the 3 yards. They want to bounce it outside and go for 40 yards. When you get into highlight culture, when you become a highlight-driven sport, you will create these kind of issues. And this will happen for baseball as well. We saw it already. Look, the home run boon of the 90s that baseball romanticized has turned into the strikeout boon of the 2000s. Where have the average hitters gone? Home run became the highlight. Everybody glorified the home run. And then we saw strikeouts tick up exponentially, in part because of great pitching, but in part because hitters said, hey, that's what's cool, and that's what gets shown, and that's what pays. That's already happened in baseball, and it's going to continue to happen in baseball. So look, the Wander Franco play as a standalone play, I don't have a problem with it. It was completely unnecessary, but he made the play. No harm, no foul. As a standalone play, perfectly fine. But it's not a standalone play. It will be a social media craze. It will help grow the game, and that's great. It really is great. But it's going to lead to kids doing it and doing it poorly. And everybody who's okay with it today is going to wonder why routine plays are no longer routine. It'll take a few years, but you just wait and see.